Welcome, everybody. It's Wanda Baader here from Strategize Your Success. And today we're going to talk about creating your marketing goals for 2016. I know I'm kind of early with this topic, but you know what? I don't think so.
We're like, no.
I think it's super important that people get started in advance of 2016 instead of saying, hey, it's January, now what do I do for the rest of the year? So today we're just going to kind of get your creative juices flowing, talking a little bit about, you know, just some key parts. Obviously, this is a deep subject that I could talk about for a long time, but Cynthia only has a half hour, so she's only given me 30 minutes to do so.
So we're doing the, the concise version. You guys can stay on. You guys can hang out all day.
That's true. It's like I'm sure that Mindy could help me out if people want to keep rocking this topic, because I know it's going to be a hot topic once we get started on it. So anyway, Wanda Baader from Strategize Your Success, strategizeyoursuccess.com. And I want Cynthia to go ahead and introduce herself, my lovely co-host.
I always love when you say lovely. It just doesn't seem to fit, but thank you very much. I can think of other words, but Cynthia, I am a motivational speaker. I'm a mentor. I own a company called Smart Chick, smartchick.me. That's where you can find me. And I help people step into their greatness with laser focused strategies, get crystal clear clarity in order to do that. So this is a great topic because Wanda's going to help you all get focused on your marketing. So thanks for, I'm honored to be here as your co-host, Wanda.
Well, you know what? I know you rock this topic because you have an awesome business going anyway, so you'll have a lot of input, I'm sure. And Mindy, please introduce yourself and welcome to the panel today. Love having you on our talks.
Oh, thank you. I'm Mindy Hart, and my company is Essential Foundations for Business. And what we do is really look at the organizational infrastructure, what we need to fix there so that your branding message doesn't get lost, and making sure that your marketing and PR strategies are consistent with that branding message.
Okay, great.
Awesome, Mindy.
Does that come through loud enough for you?
It did. It's very sultry, but it came across.
That is my voice today.
We'll get lots of people coming in.
Yeah. Keep on talking, Mindy.
It's the 1-900 version.
Well, like I said, we have a lot of things to cover in a short period of time. So we'd also love to have your input. If you have questions, do /Q, ask them in our stream. Cynthia can look out for your questions and make sure they get answered. Or if you'd like to grab a seat, we'd love to have you join us in on this conversation.
Hey, Wanda, I just want to mention, why don't I talk for a second and see what people are most interested in, and you change the topic, getting our names out of the topic, because it's posting our names twice.
Okay.
So just changing it to creating your marketing goals, I think that would be great. Just so, because on the Twitter stream, it's saying Wanda twice, basically.
Okay.
Okay, so /topic. So what are you all looking for?
I'm trying to change it, and it will not cooperate.
So /topic, it won't allow you to do it. Okay.
No, I'm going to change topic, and when I click on it, it just goes back to the screen.
So do /topic in the chat stream.
Okay, in the chat stream. Okay, got it.
/topic, and then the topic, and it should be able to change it. So everyone in the chat stream would love to hear what you're looking forward to. Hearing about this. I mean, have you started your marketing plans yet? Or are you behind the ball? Because honestly, Wanda said she might be early. I don't think Mindy and I can honestly say this is really the time. Thanksgiving is like in a hot second, and then Christmas, and then the New Year is upon us. So I think this is the absolute.
You're in crunch time.
This is crunch time, folks. Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. All right.
We've got it changed. Thank you.
All right. So now we'll tell Bird another time. All right, go ahead.
Yep. Awesome. So, all right, let's start this out. We're going to talk about 3 things to concentrate on today so that I don't give you information overload on this, and that you can really narrow down your focus on a few things. Obviously, even those 3 things we're going to have to talk about a lot of things in that. So creating your marketing plan, you got to start doing it now, folks. It's the best case scenario. You don't want to be in 2016 going, okay, what am I going to do now this year? So let's talk about understanding your market. That's one thing that you want to do. You want to do some research and understand the market that you're in, because I don't know about you guys, my business, stuff's always changing, right? Mm-hmm. It's like we went to doing Google Hangout, Cynthia and I, to now we're doing Blabs, and Periscope's hot. And, so there's always something to keep up with in my industry. Now, you might have an industry that's more evergreen and be a little bit more fortunate that you don't have a lot of changes going on, but let's just assume that you do. So you want to do some of the obvious thing, and you want to know your customers for one, okay? Are they changing? It's like the customer that I had 4 years ago is definitely different from the customer that I have now. What about you, Cynthia?
It has shifted a little bit, but it's become more so because I've defined my niche a little bit more. So I think you'll be covering that in our talk today. So my customer has changed because I've actually become clearer and more defined in a niche. What about you, Mindy?
So this is a hotbed for me because I always encourage people to evaluate their business plan, which includes their marketing plan, on an annual basis. It really needs to drive their business. So this is a great opportunity to evaluate what you were successful with in the previous year. And then, of course, doing a little bit of market research to make sure your company is still relevant. Do your competitive analysis to make sure that you understand where you fit and what your customers are doing. And then hopefully, if we're smart, we can even project where our future customers are coming from. We can do a little bit of attitudinal data collection, and then we can put our marketing strategies together. And one really important thing for me is evaluating what we did, because if billboards didn't work for you in 2015, they're probably not going to work for you in 2016. So we have to measure what we plan to do for 2015 and make sure that we're not making the same mistakes again going into 16.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to look at the market dynamics that you have too. Like you said, it's, you've got to look at the behavior of your ideal avatar and figure out exactly, what's working for them right now and what are they receiving. How are they receiving messages better than they or differently than they were back, a year ago? And in 2015. Go ahead.
I just don't want this question to end up going too far up that I can't end up finding it. But Soul Vision Heals, whether we address it now or a little bit later, if it's your first year internationally, how often would you do a marketing plan? Do you think it's relevant to do it quarterly, as the numbers will show pretty quickly?
I think that you're constantly needing to evaluate what your marketing plan looks like. It's, deep diving and creating a plan doesn't mean that you don't adjust it. You always have to make adjustments for the market, and sometimes pretty quickly. And so you have to be prepared to do so.
Yeah, you have to have some agility in your marketing plan. Where I think people get tripped up a lot of times is they go into the new year and they haven't put anything on paper. So let's put what we think we're going to do on paper and then continually be evaluating, is it working or do we need to change directions? Right. And that could be as often as a quarterly evaluation. But I oftentimes will look at it even on a monthly basis because I'm spending money on a monthly basis and I want to make sure that I am not spending good money after bad. So put the plan together for the year and then monitor it, much like you do your bank account. You put together, I'm going to save this amount of money over the course of a year, and then every month you're checking.
I just want to add to this really quickly because Soul Vision Heals is following this up with an eek, which I think we can all do the eek at times, or we've been there. You know what I mean? Is that eek, I'm busy already. Any great tips for making it simple and quick or an effective tool to use for ease of use? And I just wanted to throw into Mindy, yes, we have to look at things that aren't working for us. I just wiped out some stuff for 2016 because you know what? I tried it. We all have to try things to see if it works. And you know what? They're coming at me for 2016 and I'm going, did I really get any business from that magazine? Did I? Right. Because I always ask, And so my easy tool, I just wanted to throw it in there really quickly, Soul Vision Heals, and I'm sure Wanda and Mindy could add to this, is that my husband is an accountant by trade, so he really taught me because you're spending, right? He's all about reconciling. He's like, you're putting out what came in, you know what I mean? And kind of putting it together and saying, okay, well, this money came in from here, this money came in from there. So Gabby Loma, Wanda's great friend and business partner, is a CPA, and she did a scope today. It's so important to focus on your brilliance and outsource some of that stuff. So that is my smart tip, is that evaluating that stuff, sometimes you can't do it. You need to get it out and have someone else do it for you. So anyways, I would
agree with that. But in addition to having it be a CPA, I would be looking at somebody like Wanda or myself that can look at your analytics on your for your Google site and through your social media sites. Because if you're getting the click-throughs to your website and you're not engaging and getting the business on your website, there's probably a really good reason for that. So it's not just about the financial, it's about, are you getting traction? And if you're getting traction but you're not closing the sale, then there's usually a reason for that.
Absolutely. And, some of us produce products, and I would say that's another thing that we have to evaluate. It's like, if we have products out there, are they still going to be relevant for the coming year to the clients that we're trying to reach? So you have to do some research, and see, have I sold these products? If, are they still speaking to my ideal audience? Do I need to tweak them? Sometimes it just takes a little slight tweak to adjust something. Let's say for an informational product, like an ebook or, maybe a webinar that you're doing, to adjust for what's going on. Because again, things move so rapidly nowadays in the business world.
Right. Google Hangouts is out. Blab is in.
And, right? If you're not down in Google Hangouts, I mean, it's still got its pluses.
I know.
It's just, if it doesn't speak to you anymore, or it's not speaking to your ideal audience anymore, then maybe it is time to, go to Blab.
Right. I'm teasing. I'm just such a big fan of Blab.
Oh yeah, we fell in love with Blab right away. It took 1 week to turn us. We're easy. Okay, so another thing that we need to look at is our industry and what's going on in our industries, because, everybody does different things. There's so many niches out there, and it's like, so what's relevant within our industry? It's what are people responding to? Because if you're just starting out, you might not have all the answers to what's going on in your business, right? So what you want to do is that you want to look at the people that are a few steps ahead of you to find out what's working for them. And all of a sudden we have an echo. Sorry about that. But
I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
Okay. It's like, if it's working for somebody who is, 10 steps ahead of you, maybe it's worth a try if it's something that you can reasonably manage in your business. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And another thing you need to research is suppliers and resources, because what's going to happen is that what if your business just takes off? Okay, because sometimes that happens. A business just kind of goes like this, and all of a sudden, and then you hit your stride, and you're like this, and you're going up. And I'm a big proponent of outsourcing, and I think that needs to be in your plan moving forward, because you don't want to be in that uprise of having this great surge of business and then just being smack overwhelmed without having resources to go to. Mm-hmm. It's like, maybe, like with Gabby, maybe you were handling your books, but now you're making too much money and you don't have enough time, and you need a CPA, or you need somebody to help you with your marketing, or you need someone to handle your success, and you need someone like Cynthia to get you through it. Mm-hmm. 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 So that's super important as well.
The first thing I tell people to outsource is you're doing your books. That's the first thing, because that's what causes us the most stress. And we need to make sure that our invoices are going out and our checks are coming in.
Yeah. And again, everybody, we invite you to ask questions. If you need some clarity on anything, now's the time to ask, because this is a topic that you need to be getting on if you haven't started already. And I'm going to just talk, we were talking about honing in on your niche before. So what I would suggest is the 4 Ps. Okay, you want to look at your product, your price, your place, and your promotion. So what I mean by those is that you want to look at your product, obviously, your service or whatever it is that you have. And you need to evaluate your pricing because, sometimes you need to give yourself a raise, right, Cynthia?
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Too many women and men, but too many of us, undervalue our services. So definitely take a look at that. And don't undervalue yourself because you know what, sometimes that lowball price, people look at that and go, you know what, that's not really high quality. So, just take a look at it. Definitely.
Yeah. And again, check your market and see exactly what's going on in your market with your competitors. It's like you need to study your competitors and not just go, I don't care what they're doing. I'm my own person. Well, that's all great and fine, but you do need to look at them and make sure that you're in line with it. Because if your pricing is here and everybody else is charging here, like Cynthia said, they look at you, they're going to go, why? Why are they so much less than the rest of the market? Do you have anything to add to that, Mindy?
I think that we women just tend to undervalue ourselves completely. So whether we're in a traditional job or we're an entrepreneur, I think the last time I heard a statistic was like when we ask for a salary at hiring, we price ourselves at $5,000 less than what we're really worth on average. And I think that's true as an entrepreneur and as a consultant. I also think that we are too nice. I have a business collaborator here in Kansas City, and he taps me on the shoulder on a regular basis and says, you're just being too nice, because people will want to have coffee. So we have coffee, and then coffee goes, oh, let's have lunch. And we are just so nice that we're forgetting that there's another value here that we need to pay attention to, and that's our time. Not only do we have our intellectual property and what we bring to the table with our expertise, but our time has such a great value. And if we don't know what we're doing with our marketing, we can get lost in building relationships with people that are really just, I hate to say it, time suckers.
Right.
You know what, Mindy, I totally agree. And I really give a shout out to everybody and say, you know what, are you doing too many coffee meetings and lunch meetings with people that aren't even serious? And that I actually changed that. And it is all part of the marketing plan. It's your time and stuff like that. Was that, I was going out there and people would say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about your services. Let's meet for coffee. But by the time you go there and you sit there and they're like, talking away for an hour and a half, and they had no intention. Oh, well, I can't afford your services. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so I've kind of, revamped how I do things. You do a Skype call to begin with. You know what? Let's talk it out for 15 minutes. Let's see what you're about and gain that repertoire. So anyways, totally agree with you, Mindy.
Yeah, and it's like you learn to work smarter the longer you do things, and you figure out what's not working, right?
No doubt.
We've all done it.
Yeah,
definitely. You are not alone. Oh, well, another thing that we want to talk about is place. So it's like, where are you putting your messaging out? Are you using social media, your website? What kind of, are you using something like print media, which is, definitely something that Mindy, you've done more print and like radio time or TV time. It's just like, where are you putting your message? Are you evaluating that and looking and seeing exactly where your money's paying off? Like you had said before, Cynthia, are you advertising in magazines? And it's just like, what's been your rate of return on that investment that you made?
So important, and I think we forget this, is that any phone call or any email that someone says, hey, I heard about you, I'd like to talk about stuff. The first question should be, well, first you should say, awesome. And then the second thing, oh, where did you hear about me? And log that. You know what I'm saying? Because you really need that information back to put towards that reconciliation. So if they say, oh, we saw you in a magazine. Oh, wonderful. So or that billboard, because otherwise you'll never know if that billboard ever did anything for you, so systems and, tracking and all that kind of stuff, again, is so important.
And even if you have someone answering the phone for you, if you're fortunate enough to have that, I know some people use like Intelligent Office and places like that, is make sure that they're asking the questions as to, well, how did you hear about the company? And, and dive a little deeper. So maybe that saves you a step later on too, because time is money, like you said. So anything that if you do have an administrative assistant or a service that you use, have them do that for you.
No doubt.
Yeah. And the other thing is I'm sorry, were you saying something, Mindy?
Oh, I wanted to add that know what you're expecting from that marketing avenue. It's really hard to quantify the billboard. If you've got somebody consistently asking the question, that's great, but some people don't, and it's just them, and they're the boots on the ground. So know that some of them are just top of mind, and some of them are everything's to drive traffic to your business. So you have to look at, are we getting the traffic at the website? What is the message that you put out on that billboard? Are you directing them to the website, or you're directing them to your storefront? And then measure, since I put up that ad, I have X amount of traffic to my website. Sometimes I even suggest people have a URL that's specific to an advertising campaign that redirects to their main website, so they'll know how that worked, even if they can't get the question asked verbally.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and like you said before, it's like you need to be able to track that, which I'm going to talk about measuring your results in just a second. But I wanted to talk about the last P, which is promotion. And, some of us put a lot of money into promotion, and some of us aren't maybe there yet to do so. But think about it, your time invested in whatever you do, even if you're doing your own social media at this level in your business, it does have a dollar value to it. It's like, what does somebody pay you in order to provide them with a service or a product? You have to evaluate that. So I would say track, exactly like what Mindy was saying, tracking your results through your promotions and the places that you are doing those promotions at, whether it's something simple like Facebook ads or something a little bit more complex like talk radio or TV ads, which obviously are a whole different realm of expense. But it's important to know where your traffic is coming from, and being able to know what's been working, what's not working, where your dollar's going, and where do I want to put my dollars next year, even if you have a smaller budget.
Great things. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'm getting a little echo on my end. I don't know if you hear it, but
not this time.
Just looking at everything. And when I think marketing plan also, I think of all the services that you have that are on a recurring basis month to month that you're utilizing for marketing. So for example, instant teleseminar I have Infusionsoft. That's all money going out. You know what I mean? So if you're not pulling the money in, you know what I mean? Is it something in your promotions that aren't working? You know what I mean? Or is it the particular service that is not resonating with your people? Is instant teleseminar is basically a phone-in thing. It might be more wise to do more video stuff. You know what I mean? Like on Blab, that is free. Right. But instant teleseminar has the ability, obviously, that you can do a sign-up page and, you can track people through that. So again, my big thing with a marketing plan is really, again, what I've, heard over and over is just know where your money is going out and know the money that's coming in. So,
yeah. And if you've just joined us, we're talking about creating your marketing plan for 2016, and we're saying do it now. Don't wait for the beginning of the year. Really evaluate where you've been in 2015, what's been working, what's not working, or what do you want to try to do differently in 2016 and experiment on. Because, marketing can be an experiment in a lot of ways as to what's working. And it could just be the time of the year. It could be the way the market is. It could be maybe your messaging isn't quite reaching your ideal avatar out there. And maybe you need to look at just tweaking things sometimes. I mean, we tweak websites a lot, because just because you have a website maybe you don't love and adore, but you can't necessarily redo it, we can tweak it and make it work a little bit better until you can get to that next level and doing things a little differently. Mm-hmm. And Mindy, I'm sure that you have some input on that too, as far as like tweaking your messaging.
This actually brings up a great experience from this last week. There was a client that their product was used in a TV commercial. And I actually want people to think out 18 months, and there's a reason for this. If your product is used when it's snowing and you need to be able to have a TV commercial or video footage for social media, any pictures even, you need to have it taken when there's snow. So you're actually planning what you're going to do your next year's advertising campaign in real time right now. Otherwise, you have missed the target, because you need to have your product in the commercials out there, whether it's on social media or TV or whatever, before the first snowfall hits. So conversely, this commercial is going to air in February. And it's a great commercial. I'm so excited about it. And I can't tell you the company that it's for, but it's going to be a great commercial. However, it's going to air in February, going into spring. It's fall colors on the trees. So they clearly didn't think far enough in advance to be able to capture that. So that's why the marketing plan is so important. It is about the cash flow, cash in, cash out. Of course it is. But it's also making sure that you have the right messaging at the right time. And if you don't plan out far enough in advance, you're going to miss your targets.
Yeah.
May I ask a quick question? I'm not going to be, on too much longer, but there's a lot of people out there that have never done a marketing plan. You know what I mean? So for the newbies out there, for the people that are just, hey, I'm just winging it, I'm just doing this and that, is a marketing plan like a business plan, Wanda? Or if you could just explain, like, kind of, how would you start off 101 for someone who's never done anything? I mean, everything you talked about, is so important, but is it getting down to what your goals are, defining what your goal is? Like, maybe if you could just explain for a second what, for someone brand new.
Right.
What would you do like today? Because you're saying to start today. Like, what would you do today, like, to start off?
Well, I think that it's important for you to know, how much money do you want to make next year? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are you looking to make 20 grand? Or are you looking to make 150 grand? Because everything that you do in marketing relates to the revenue that you're looking to bring into your business. So, if you have a business that you're just starting off and you'll be, hey, I'll be lucky if I make 20 grand doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to evaluate, what's it going to take for you to make that money? Mm-hmm. And where are you going to put your sweat equity, because you're just starting out, and any reserves that you might have in order to bring that into the picture? I hear a lot of people talk about shoestring marketing. We've talked about it here on the show, and bootstrapping. And, we've all been at zero, day one in our businesses. But I will tell you that finding professionals to work with is going to be super important, just for you to get clarity. So if you can't hire someone to help you with your marketing plan, then research the heck out of it, because everything that I've talked about here today is something that's going to be important in that. But you have to figure out, how much am I looking to make this year? Mm-hmm. And how am I going to go about making that happen? So it's like, if you want to make $150,000, okay, how many days a week do you want to work?
Right.
How many hours a day do you want to work? How many vacation days do you want to take throughout the year? And really think about all the time that you're going to invest in it, and exactly how's your marketing going to work. Are you going to be doing that? Are you going to have someone else doing that? Are you going to do maybe a split? Because sometimes people will do certain things and then hire professionals to do other certain things. There's no wrong answer here. It obviously just depends on somebody's budget, mm-hmm. and their ability to move forward, but just move forward.
Hey, Wanda, I just wanted to, I know, so you're at strategizeyoursuccess.com. That's your website, correct? So I just wanted to address So Vision Heals. I'm sure that Wanda, if you worked with her, she's asking about templates and stuff online, but you would help her get clarity as far as, you know, a marketing plan going forward. But I don't know if you do templates or if you know some great templates, that is what she's asking, whether there are some out there.
Yeah, it's like we do strategic planning with people, and marketing plans are just part of it. But if she's looking just to get templates and all, I can help her with that as well. It just depends on her budget. I'd be more than happy to talk to her. If she visits my website, I give a 30-minute consultation, just so that we can figure out exactly what's going on in her business, because there's nothing that's written for everybody, and everyone's unique in their business and what their needs are.
Hey, with that, I have to head out. But Mindy, I know Mindy and you're in great hands with each other. You guys are awesome. I'm going to put your website, Wanda, in the chat stream. And awesome topic. I know this could go on for a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is like we could do a week of just planning for 2016, but obviously we don't have that kind of time.
All right, rock on, ladies. I will talk to you later. I'll put your website in the stream.
Bye.
You know, Wanda, one of the things that I would start off with is just looking at what you do in the year. If you know that you do Holiday Mart at Christmas time, then the time to plan for a Holiday Mart or whatever it is in your city is June. And start making sure that you have enough of your promotional materials gathered for that event. So just looking at some of the things that you already know that you're doing and plan for that. And then think about, what do I need to add in the other months to keep my business top of mind? That's a great, easy way to start. And then you can also look at your budget a little easier and say, well, I know I spend $1,000 getting ready for this holiday bazaar every year, or this women's conference, or this professional conference that I'm going to. And then you can start budgeting what you can use the rest of the year. One of the things that's really hard for me is when I go into a company and it's April and they've already spent their entire advertising budget and marketing budget for the entire year, and it's April and there's 3/4 of the year left. And the most important things that they do are in the second, third, or fourth quarter. So putting it down on paper, just on a simple paper calendar, is a great place to start. If you don't worry about buying a hefty template online at this point. If you're just dipping your toe into it, just put it on a calendar of what you're already doing, and then think about what resources you need, and then start filling in from there.
Yeah. And if you do have a marketing budget, for instance, I'll give you an example. I do VIP days where I meet with clients who have, a decent budget to put towards their marketing every year. And what we do is we just plan the whole year, and we look at things like what you were saying, Mindy. You have to consider that your networking is part of your marketing in a lot of ways. You're going out, you're spending $25, $30 for lunch, or if you're going to a conference to educate yourself, that's a form of networking. It's like I just came back from a conference over the weekend, and, it's a great place to meet people and to get your message out as to what your service or product is. And, but again, it's money out of pocket. So it takes some planning. You have to know where your dollars are going, and you need to evaluate constantly as to how that happens. And if you're going to be sponsoring, some people like to be a sponsor at an event, or if you're hosting something, all that comes out of a marketing budget. Because sometimes what I see people doing is that they're just throwing money around, that spaghetti at the wall. And then they look at the end of the year when they do their getting prepped for their taxes, and they're going, oh my gosh, how did I spend that much money in my business? Because they lost that control over it because they got too busy working in their business too.
Absolutely. And thinking about what your business is, I had a client who is a doctor. He had 3 medical practices, kind of had dipped his toe into some sideline practices. And he had over $10,000 a month going out in marketing for each of the businesses. And he couldn't tell you where it went.
Oh my God.
And so we had to literally put everything into one plan, rebranded as one practice with three services that are offered, three primary services. And we got his advertising budget under control because he was bleeding money. And he's a doctor. He made lots of money. So he just kept writing checks and didn't realize that from a business perspective, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it's like you have to be smart about it. And it's, again, accounting comes into that, just evaluating, like you said, monthly, quarterly. Monthly is the best case scenario. And like Cynthia said before, there's just sometimes it's just little things that, it might be a small subscription that you're only spending $30 a month for. But if you do that multiple times, there might be $100 right there that you found in your marketing budget that you could be, putting somewhere where it would be more beneficial for your business and your bottom line.
Agreed. We have a question over here.
Okay, great.
Do you have a rule of thumb for setting aside a budget for reactive opportunities outside of the marketing plan?
Yeah, you should always have a contingency budget, I think. It's just like building a house. It's always going to cost you more than you think. And so it's, always have a few dollars in the piggy bank, because there might be an opportunity that somebody says to you, oh, hey, would you like to come to this conference? It's going to be great networking, or they have some tables still available, and they're, and maybe it's they're given a really great price because they want to get these spots filled. So you want to be able to respond to that, obviously, if it makes sense for your business and your budget. So I'd say yes. Don't you think so, Mindy?
I agree. I think what Shuggy 80 is the person who's asking, is there a percentage that you would set aside for that? Is there kind of a formula that you use to, like, if you spend $5,000 on your marketing or $10,000 on your marketing for the year, or 50, is there a percentage that you would allocate on top of that for those contingency opportuniits?
I wouldn't say that there would be a percentage, because again, everybody I work with is going to be just a little bit different. So it's kind of hard to, put that into perspective that way. But I would say at least 20% if you can. Have a 20% contingency. I don't think 10% is going to get you much for some really good opportunities. But again, it depends on, if you have a $10,000 budget and you budget 20% on top of that, it's going to be a lot different than if you have $5,000 budget and put 20% on top of that. So, and again, sometimes you, as your business grows throughout the year, you can respond to that question a little bit differently too, because you might have more money coming in the door that you can adjust your budget.
I'm curious what you would recommend as a percentage of your gross for the year that you would put for marketing.
Say that again.
What percentage of the gross for the year would you put towards marketing?
Towards marketing. Yeah, that's a good question. I can't say that I've worked with clients differently on that. And I think it's also sometimes somebody's comfort zone. Some people are risk takers and some people are really, really conservative. So can't answer that one in a nutshell either. Can you, Mindy?
I'm glad you said it that way, because I sometimes feel like I'm in a minority out there where it's really on a case-by-case, business-by-business basis. And It really depends on, if you're wanting to go heavy into TV for your marketing, or if you have other avenues for it. It really just depends on what is best for your industry and for your particular business. So there is no rule of thumb on what you should budget from my view. Yeah. Let's sit down and look at your business goals and where you want to go and where you want to be, not just in a year, but 3 and 5 years, and then put our strategy in place to get there. And sometimes that means being sacrificial with your marketing dollars and putting more money into it and taking less of a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it means you're just rocking and rolling and you've got everything all lined up. So it really just depends on what your business goals are for growth as well.
Yeah. And sometimes if it can go the reverse. It's like we always hope that business goes this way, but sometimes it goes the other direction, and it might just be a seasonal adjustment thing for you. And maybe your marketing isn't quite working the way that you hoped it would. And so you have to maybe reevaluate where you're putting those dollars again.
There's a colleague here in Kansas City, and she has a dealership, and she opened the doors of the dealership. It was doing great. Then the economy tanked. And at the same time that the economy tanked, the state shut down the interchange right outside the front door of her dealership. So people literally didn't know how to find her. And so her marketing strategy, because the economy was tanked, who's buying new vehicles at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So her marketing tactics had to change. And what's interesting is she beefed up the things that were fun and got people excited about coming out and charitable giving and all of that, because it didn't matter how many TV and radio commercials she did at that point. People were still having a hard time getting there because of just how hard it was physically to get there with detours. So she had to really find some innovative ways. So sometimes it means getting your best marketing people surrounding you and strategizing ways to circumvent what life throws at you.
Yeah. And sometimes it comes at you fast, like that commercial says.
Fastballs.
Yeah, and we've got 7 live people joining us live, and we've got 34 people watching. So we're for the people that are watching that can't participate in the questions, we hope that we're giving you some information here to really get yourself together for 2016 now. Don't wait. This is going to come very quickly. We've got October's almost done, and then we've got the holidays. And, that's another thing. If you haven't already planned for the holidays, it's going to be really tough to catch up right now in your marketing. If not virtually impossible, unless you want to pay an arm and a leg for advertising, with some of the bigger things like TV slots or radio slots and print. So it's a little easier if you're doing it on social media or, through your website, obviously direct contacting through email marketing as well.
So if they haven't planned for the holiday season, we're past crunch time. We're in let's get the defibrillator out. Any last minute tips on how they could get it going and not lose out on what revenue they could make? I mean, they're going to lose out regardless because they're coming late to the table, but is there any way to minimize that risk?
Well, for my expertise, which is more online marketing versus where, you hit upon the fact that you do a lot more like TV, radio type slots, even print media, you can still make this happen. But the thing is that you really need to get a campaign together. And that's where you're still in crunch time. You need to get that campaign locked down pretty quickly in order to get it launched out during the holidays. But, Facebook is pretty forgiving for one as an advertising option, because you could do something tomorrow and put it out there. But obviously you don't want to just throw anything out there. You want to have some kind of plan behind that marketing and, make it effective and also make you some money. Because that's why we're in business. And, folks, it's like, if you're here, please, we'd love to have you join in on a seat if you have a question, or you can put it into the chat box, but we'd love to have you on live if you do. I'm going to try to wrap this up around latest at 2:00, Mindy, and I don't know if you can hang in there with me until that point. I know that you're in a different time zone. But it's like, if you have questions, we'd love to give you some feedback and try to help you with some of those pain points that you might be feeling, or even some of those like, yikes, where do I go from here type of things. And just to kind of reiterate, some of the things that I've talked about so far is doing your research, making sure that you're looking at your demographics. Have they changed? Looking at what kind of products that you have out there or services. Do they need to be tweaked and reevaluated for the coming year? We've also talked about the industry that you're in, and then planning for growth, because we all hope that you're planning to grow your business in the future. And if you are, you need to have things in place. So maybe you can't afford a Wanda or a Mindy at this point in your career. But what if things really start to skyrocket? Maybe you had a viral YouTube video and now everybody knows who you are. It's like, do you have things in place, and are you connected to people, or at least have names to be connected to in the future if you can make things happen, and raise that income of yours?
Wanda, you talked a little bit, because you are the strategized coach. So what are 3 questions that people that are just new to trying to figuring out their marketing, what are 3 questions they need to ask themselves to start developing a strategy?
They need to ask themselves is, have I narrowed down my niche enough? Because, some businesses, it's, especially when you're new, and you can probably relate to this, Mindy, is that I love everybody and I want to help everybody. And the reality is that, that's great and fine. But it's like the more clear that you can be on what you're going to be doing and offering to the world, the better off that you will be. Some people say, I work with women. Some people say I work with men. Some people say they work with entrepreneurs. Some people exclusively work with speakers. And I'm sure it's just like if you're in, if you have a dealership, obviously you have a dealership and you sell cars. But who is your ideal person that you sell cars to? Who's really going to be able to afford that particular car that you manufacture? It's like you've got some people who are in the BMW market, and then you have some people that are in the Ford market. So it's the clearer that you can become. Another thing is knowing exactly who that ideal client avatar. Picture them in your mind. Have you worked with a couple of clients? Even if you're new, do you have a couple of clients underneath your belt? Do you have a clear vision of what that person looks like if they're sitting right in front of you? What do they make? Who are they? What do they stand for? What kind of expectations are they going to have of your business? And then you have to have some kind of marketing budget. You can't say I'm working with $0. That's just not realistic. I think you have to work with some kind of budget, even if it's small, and then work up from there. And obviously, I think that it's really important to get guidance. So whether you do research and get, guidance for free, that's what I did when I first got into the business, is that I actually had a different business, and I started seeing what worked for other people. And, there's a lot of webinars that are going on out there. There's a lot of blabs like what we're doing here with information that you can gather. That will kind of help you get that little step up. When I started, there were free ebooks and things like that, but now we have so many more opportunities of getting information from people who have walked the walk. So I think it's like be your own best client. Go out there and see exactly, what you can find out. How about you?
I agree with you completely. You've got to know what what your target audience looks like. And I hear all the time, oh, everybody needs my product. Everybody needs my services. Okay, that's true. But let's bring it down to who's going to be able to afford your services at the level that you need to offer them. Because I was consulting on a business this morning, and it's a great, innovative business, and I'm so thrilled to be a part of launching it. But monetizing it might be a little bit tough, because the people that need it the most are the people that can afford it the least.
Yeah, that's always tough.
So now we got to look at different opportunities to monetize it. So you really have to know who that target audience is. And if you don't have that, then you're kind of stuck in the water until you figure it out. Because you can't. The question is, do you want 100% of, let's say in Kansas City, there's 100 or 1 million people that need insurance, for example. And so every 1 million people out of 2.4 million people, million households need insurance. So that's a huge pool. I'm not going to get 100% of that business. So as you said, we need to decide what our niche is going to be in that industry and then get 100% of that pool. So if I am the insurance agent in Kansas City that cares about foster kids, and there are 250,000 people that are passionate about foster kids in Kansas City, I want to be the insurance agent that everybody wants because I care about Kansas City's foster kids. You got to decide how to get 100% of your piece of the pie and create your own pie out of it instead of getting just a sliver of the big pie. We do have a question over here. I'm so sorry about my husky voice today. How important do you think video is on your website and within your courses? I'll add to that question in social media. I've got some ideas on that as well, but Wanda, what do you think?
I think it's really important because I think that the social is really coming back to social media. You know, doing blabs, doing periscopes, doing Google Hangouts. YouTube obviously is YouTube for a reason because people want to see people. You know, it's a world of rapid response, and you only have so much time to get somebody's attention. And if you want people to, you know, the old know, like, and trust, if you want people to know, like, and trust you as an expert in what you do, there's no better way that I think besides speaking live, let's say, is doing video marketing, because I think that that's a way for people to see, you know, we all have our quirky little personalities. It's like, oh, do they like to laugh and have fun? You know, are they, you know, a little bit more serious in their approach? Because we all have personalities that resonate with us. And we have to figure out is that person, you know, going to be potentially the person I want to work with? And video marketing, I think, helps that out a lot. What's your opinion, Mindy?
I completely agree. Having done talk radio, there are limitations with it. One of the best pieces of advice that we ever got was to turn on our TV, go in the other room, and listen to Ellen, listen to The View, listen to a few of those talk programs. And could we visualize what was going on their set from what they were saying descriptively on air? And some of the shows were good at it and some were not. And it really gives you a different perspective of how you deliver. Can someone that is multitasking and working on their computer and not really looking at the screen, can they still get your content the way that you intend for it to be received? And so video, having the limitations of, you know, in talk radio, we didn't have the ability to have that visual. So we had to be very descriptive with our words. We're very blessed to have Blab and Google Hangouts and opportunities now where we can get those visual experiences. And I think people want to see you. They want to see your delivery style. Even if you're doing a one-on-one coaching session or consultation, they want to see how you work in person. And can you convey that message one-on-one, and can you convey it to a group? Especially if you're in a public speaking business or consulting business. I think one of the best examples that I can give you is Jennifer Bertrand. She won Design Star Season 3, and everybody thought she was so fun on the show. And yet, if you watch her do a Periscope today, she is as effervescent and fun and knowledgeable as she was on that show. It wasn't just due to great editing and great staging on the part of the TV show. You really get to see who she is. And I think that's the power. So then when she downloads that Periscope video and she puts it up on our website or any of the other opportunities that she gets to be on video at conferences and so forth, you still get an essence of who she is. And that people gravitate towards.
Yeah. Definitely. I know somebody had said recently, Blab's going to really bring out the true speakers because it's you're really going to see who people and their personality and exactly how they deliver information out to the public. Well, it's coming up on the 2:00 hour here on my side, and I've got to wrap it up. But I totally appreciate you sticking with me, Mindy, and I want to thank Cynthia Bazin, who is my lovely co-host, even though she doesn't think she's lovely. I say it every week, and she goes, "I don't know." But we appreciate your time. We hope that the information that we offered was of value to you. And we hope that you get going in 2016, get going for your 2016 planning right now. So don't wait, get going and really think about what you're going to do for the new year. So thank you, Mindy. I appreciate your time. And I loved your voice today. And thank you, everybody. If you didn't catch the whole talk, we were here for an hour. You can catch the replay on Blab. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later. Bye.